Your after shower routine is a foundation for healthy hair, but it's hard to know what products to use and exactly which order to use them in. So that's what we're going over today. I'm going to show you the exact after shower routine I've helped a ton of my clients with, and as always, I'm going to make it super simple and easy for you. So let's get into it. But every routine actually starts in the shower. I need you to really get in there with your shampoo. That way you start with fully clean hair. That's important because it allows you to go longer between washes. That way you use less product and you spend less time on your hair because you don't have to do it as often. So after that great wash, you're gonna get out of the shower and towel dry your hair, hopefully with a microfiber towel. But if you don't have one, it's not the end of the world. Microfiber towels tend to glide over your hair more easily. That way they don't get caught and cause any breakage. Another thing you want to make sure to do is pat your hair dry. You don't want to take the towel and go like this, rubbing it all around. That'll cause breakage as well. Just pat the hair dry and you'll be good. Getting into products now, the first thing you want on your hair is always a leave-in conditioner. You used a regular conditioner in the shower, which added a ton of moisture. But the problem is that moisture begins to leak from your hair as soon as you get out of the shower. That's where the leave-in conditioner comes in. It locks the moisture in, keeps your hair healthy and hydrated. If you use a conditioner without a leave-in conditioner, you're doing it wrong. For fine hair, you want to use about 6 to 8 sprays. Medium hair, about 8 to 12. For coarse hair, you'd use like 12 to 16. But really, you want to experiment. That way, you want to find out exactly how much you can use without making your hair heavy. Leave-in conditioner also acts as a detangler. So now is when you want to take your wet brush to start detangling the hair. I would really recommend you stay away from combs because combs tend to get caught, and when they get caught, they can cause breakage. Moving on to the next product. Anytime you blow dry or use a heated brush, you must use a blow dry cream and it must have built-in heat protection. Some of my favorites are Redken's Big Blowout, Olaplex number 6, and Redken's Frizz Dismiss. All of these have heat protection and they'll make a huge difference in the texture and shine of your blow dry. Most people want to use about a pea-sized amount, but if you have a ton of hair or extra long hair, you can always use more. All you're gonna do is spread it out on your palms and start working it through your hair, starting from your mids and ends. And if you want to get volume, make sure to add some extra around the roots of your crown. That way they'll give you some lift. Moving on to the next step, your hair should still be pretty wet. It's too wet to work with, so we want to remove some of that moisture by rough drying it. We can't do this in the salon because the client's sitting in a chair, but if you're doing this at home, it's actually much easier to rough dry if you flip your hair over your head and do it upside down. The reason for that is gravity has been pulling water from the top layers of your hair and dragging it down to the underneath layers. So if you just went like this, rough drying, the top is going to be super, super dry and the underneath layers are going to be soaked. You want to rough dry your hair evenly by concentrating on the underneath layers of your hair, and flipping your head over is a really easy way to do that. So how much water do you actually want to remove from your hair? You'll hear a lot of percentages thrown around, but 80% dry to one person is not the same as 80% dry to somebody else. So don't even go by that. It's also a false premise because how dry you want to get your hair is different for everyone. If your hair tends to frizz really easily, you don't really want to rough dry much at all, or else you're just going to be creating a mess. What you really want to do is rough dry your hair until the point where you start getting frizz. So as soon as you start seeing frizz, stop, you're good. Up next is actually blow drying or using a heated brush on your hair. But before you do that, you want to go over it one more time with the wet brush to make sure there's no tangles so you don't get any breakage. When it's fully detangled, you're going to go in and start blow drying. During the actual blow dry, you want a decent amount of tension. The hair should be pulled fully straight. That's going to give you a much better texture and your style will last longer. You want to go at a smooth and steady pace. There's no reason to go faster with the brush. It doesn't actually get the hair done any faster. You want to stop doing a section when you notice it's starting to get warm. When it's warm, that means it's fully dry. If you keep going, it's going to get hot and you risk doing damage to your hair. So now that you're done with your blow dry, you can move on to using an iron. Now you already used a blow dry cream with heat protectant, but it's nowhere near strong enough to stand up to the heat from an iron. Blow dryers are usually 170 degrees, but irons are usually double that at around 400. So you need something stronger. My two favorite are Kenra's Thermal Styling Spray and Redken Hot Sets. If you're just starting out, I really recommend you use Hot Sets because it's much more forgiving than the Kenra. Heat protectants are really confusing for some people. You want to remember, this is not a helmet. You can't just spray this on the outside of your hair and be done. You need it to be throughout your hair where the iron is going to be. So As you iron your hair, you're gonna use this and spray it section by section. You also wanna make sure to brush it through your hair. If you use way too much of this and don't brush it through your hair, it's going to feel weird and give you a weird texture. It only takes 3 to 5 sprays per section, and make sure to brush it out until you can't feel it anymore. If you can feel this in your hair, you're using too much. So we're almost done now, and we only have one major product left, which is hair oil. We're gonna use this for 2 things. It's gonna protect and hydrate your ends so they don't get damaged, and it's also gonna make them smooth and shiny. So we're just gonna take a little bit, and I mean a little bit, in our hands. You don't wanna use too much. Rub your hands together and then start applying it to your ends. Almost all of the oil will go on the ends, but inevitably there's still gonna be a little bit left on your hands, so go over your mids a little bit to smooth them out too. I just wanna stress one more time, do not use a ton of hair oil or your hair will feel heavy and gross. You can always put more in, but you can't take it out, so go slowly, and if you're not sure, start small. The last and final product is hairspray. But remember, this is optional. You should only be using this for hold, because remember, it does make your hair feel heavier, so if you use this, you will have to wash your hair more often than if you skip it. The number 1 rule of hairspray is you never want to use this on any one section of your hair for longer than 6 seconds. If you do, you'll be adding more weight than you are adding hold, which means your style will fall and feel gross. So that is the full routine. I cannot wait for you to try this out, so please let me know how it goes. I have links to all the products in the description, and as always, if you have a question, leave a comment and I'll make sure to get back to you.